Welcome back to another video. If you have never been here before, this is Chaotic Mom, and on this channel I do tons of crafting and some cleaning and planning videos along with anything else that's kind of mom related. If you hear some banging in the background, my husband is currently redoing Hannah's bedroom, so I don't really have any time to do these videos when it's completely quiet in the house because it's summertime. It's never quiet in the house. So I'm going to do the best that I can to try to either drown out the background noise or kind of talk when he's not banging. So hello to all of my lovies that come back here time and time again and see me. It has been so long since I have seen you guys and done a video with you guys. Today's video, we are just going to dive right into doing a junk journal because why not? I decided that I wanted to get into junk journaling again because that is just something that calms me. That's something that I can grab basically anything in the house and use. So today I'm using a magazine that I didn't even buy. I was on vacation and I was at my girlfriend's house and she said, "Hey, have you read this magazine yet?" I said no, so I brought it home with me. I read it and now I'm using it to junk journal with. So my suggestion for you is just grab something around the house. If you have a composition book, if you have a journal, if you have an old book that you're done reading, go ahead and grab that. But I had this magazine that I wanted to work on, so if you want to work on a magazine with me, then go ahead and grab one of your old magazines or a neighbor's magazine or a family friend's magazine. Grab a magazine. So I don't like the size of the magazine because it's just too big and bulky to work with for me. So I am going to cut it down to kind of a journal size. I would consider like an 8x5 a journal size. Really, you can, this is up to you. You can determine what size you want it to be. If you want to leave it full size because you like bigger spaces, that's perfectly fine. I just feel like I really like the way that like an 8x5 or an 8.5x4, I really like the way that those journals feel in my hand, and I like the way that those carry around when I pick them up and bring them, over to the couch, into the bedroom, put them in my purse. I like that size, so that's why I chose this size personally for me. So I'm just getting out my Sharpie and I'm marking 8 inches long by 5 inches wide. And this is a box cutter from the Dollar Tree. And all I'm going to do is apply steady pressure and go over it several times. Be patient. This is not something that you want to push real hard and dig into at an angle, because then you're going to create little frays in the side of the paper if you're going in at an angle and you're digging really hard. So just be patient and go over several times with a steady pressure, and it's going to come out with a real nice clean edge. So I figured in between giving you directions on what I'm doing, I'll just kind of catch up with you guys. So it has been a really, excuse me, long time since I have done a video. I have been in my own little world. There has been a little bit of everything going on in this house, and it has just been absolutely crazy. I personally have just been through, I think, I don't know. I have no idea what I've been through. There's been a little bit of depression in there. There's been, my stomach was an absolute disaster. I really still don't know what was going on with that. I've taken gluten and dairy out of my diet. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I mean, I have no idea what was going on with that. I've had all the tests and they put me on like an antacid. And I still have mostly good days now without gluten and dairy, but every once in a while, like my stomach will flare up again and it's just a mess. But for the most part, 75% of the time, as long as I stay gluten-free, dairy-free, and, you know, stick to a very bland diet, I'm fine. So I'm good with that. I can deal with that. All right, so back to what I'm doing here. What I have in that little bottle is just water and a little bit of Dawn Platinum foam. And then I have this clean rag here. And what I do is I just keep it next to me on the desk. And that way, when I get my fingers covered in glue or I need to wipe off something on the desk, I have that right there. To me, it is so much easier than having to get up and get wet paper towels each time that I need to wipe something off, because I'm in the technical dining room of the house. That's my craft room. And so I'm completely across the house from the kitchen. So just to have this little bottle of water and Dawn dish soap sitting on my desk is so easy for me to be able just to wipe my hands off whenever I'm doing a project. So a little tip for you. And that bottle came straight from the Dollar Tree. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking 3 pages and gluing them together. I want some pages that are pretty sturdy in this journal. I don't want to be dealing with magazine pages. Those are way too thin. So I'm taking 3 pages and I'm putting some Aleene's tacky glue in there, and you could just squirt it on there and glue the pages together, but I'm me. So I have to spread out the glue and make sure it gets all the way to the edges, because that's who I am. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty. Later on, I will show you that I remember I have a face mask applying spatula, and I meant to buy one from the Dollar Tree. I swore I did. I swore I picked up a pink face mask applying spatula from the Dollar Tree, but I can't find it anywhere, so I'm going to have to pick one up next time I go. But anyway, later on you'll see that that's what I use to spread the glue with, but right now I'm just using my finger, and that's fine by me. So whatever you want to do, just glue 3 pages together, and then if you have some wax paper, which I do not have, I just used regular lined paper, just put it in between there so your pages don't stick together. So there's 3 pages, and they're all nice and stuck together, and it just makes them, you know, pretty thick instead of being thin magazine pages. And there you go. I'm just going to put that down there so the pages don't stick together. And now I'm going to move on to my next 3 pages. So you're going to skip a page because you don't want them all glued together. So you skip a page and then you move on. So this takes a little while. This process takes a little while. I think it took me about an hour and a half. But I put on a nice movie and I just sat there gluing some junk journal pages together. Was actually enjoyable for me, and before I knew it, it was done, and it was free. So can it really get better than that? An hour and a half worth of time, and it's a free magazine, and I had Aleene's tacky glue sitting around the house. So that's the next thing. Don't run out and buy Aleene's tacky glue if you don't have it. Make sure you use whatever you have. Do you have school glue? Use that. Do you have a glue stick? Use that. Whatever you have at home, just use it. Do you have Mod Podge? Use that. You know, just kind of use whatever you have. And like this morning when I woke up, I thought to myself, oh, I want to do a junk journal, but I had no idea what I wanted to use. And then when I looked at the magazine, I was like, oh, there it is. I'm going to use that. So just get creative, guys. You don't have to go out and buy stuff. That's the whole idea behind my channel, is like, I hate going out and spending money on creative stuff, but I love being creative. So that's another thing with this, is that I'm going to try to use all Dollar Tree stuff. So this Aleene's tacky glue, you can definitely find at the Dollar Tree. They come in smaller bottles though. So don't look for the large bottle that I'm using right now. They come in smaller bottles. Or again, like I said, use whatever you have. So anyway, back to what I've been up to after like months and months and months and months and months of dealing with tummy problems and just not feeling quite myself and having migraines in between of them. I decided that I was just going to get out of the funk and I was going to go down to Florida, and I got off of medications that I was on that I thought contributed to my migraines. And I went down to Florida and I saw my dad and I spent time with him. And I drove myself with my girls, and that was like totally empowering because I've never driven like a long trip like that by myself without my husband. So that was really empowering. We called it a girls trip. We called it the girls vacay. And then on the way back, I saw my friend Amy in North Carolina, and I have not seen her in like 8 years. And we've been friends for like 41 years. So it was really hard not to see her for so long. So I did that, and it was just really good for my soul. Okay, so here's this little spatula that I found. This is not at all what I wanted, though. I wanted that big rubber spatula from the Dollar Tree. But anyway, I found this, and it's just going to work. So the other thing you can use is like a card, whether it be an old library card. This is like an old insurance card that's out of date. But whatever you want to use to kind of spread the glue, you can use that instead of your finger. So that's what I'm going to use from here on out. So then when I got back from my vacation, I felt a lot more clear-minded, I guess you could say. I felt like I finally could do it. You know, I don't know if that makes sense to you. I feel like before I left for vacation, I felt like I was so overwhelmed by life. Like, I just can't do this. I just can't figure this out. That's what it was. Not I can't do this. I don't want to say that. But like, I just can't figure all this out. Like, I had all this stuff I want to accomplish in my head and the ways I want to feel. That was a big thing. Like, you have these ideas of how you want to feel. Like, oh, I want to get up in the morning and I want to be happy. And I want to get up and enjoy my coffee in the morning. And I want to look forward to the kids waking up. And like, that just wasn't happening before I went on vacation. I was getting up in the morning and I was like, okay, here we go again. Wonder if my stomach's going to hurt. Wonder if I'm going to get a migraine. Wonder if the dogs are going to misbehave. I mean, that's another thing too. I've got these 2 puppies that are just full of energy and they need my attention 24 hours a day. And, you know, that's a lot too. And the racing thoughts about, well, I'm not going to get any videos done. I haven't done a video in forever. What a failure I am about that. Haven't sold anything on my Etsy store. That's a flop. And, you know, I'd sit down and I'd go back through my YouTube information and I'd think, oh my gosh, I made X amount of money in 2018 on YouTube. Yeah, that's because I was doing videos 2 or 3 times a week. Of course, you're going to make money when you're putting out videos 2 and 3 times a week versus not putting out videos. Your videos get put to the end of the line. So I was doing a lot of damage myself. I was doing a lot of negative self-talk, and people tell you that negative self-talk is dangerous. It is. It's really dangerous. So when I got back from vacation, I felt like going on vacation like gave me a clearer mindset. So when I got back from vacation, I had the mindset of all of that was going to stop. I was not going to do that negative, oh, I wonder what today is going to hold in the Eeyore voice at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So I decided to change my mindset. And in changing my mindset, you can't just change your mindset. I decided to make myself a schedule that was going to go with that changed mindset. So what I just did on that last page there is I just folded the page in half. That's all I did. I just wanted to create something different. I don't know why. I just wanted to fold the page in half and make a half page. So that's what I did. You can do anything with these pages. You can make pockets with these pages. You can make them as thick as you want. You can glue 5, 6 pages together if you want, make them super duper thick. I will tell you that I'm editing this video way after I made this magazine, about 6 or 7 hours later, and the 3 pages that I put together with the tacky glue, and I used some DIY gesso on it, you'll see coming up, they are super thick. They're like a really heavy cardstock. So I'd say you don't need to do any more than this, but you do whatever your heart desires with this. So I don't know about you guys, but I know that if I try to follow a schedule that says at 7:30 I have to start work, at 8 o'clock I have to do this, at 8:30 I have to do that, at 9 o'clock, that's not going to work for me. Not even when I used to work. That never worked for me. I always like, I'm not going to say I did my own thing, because obviously I worked for an office. I worked for a doctor's office. Obviously I had to do it their way, but at the same time I kind of did my own thing. So if I had to be to work by 8 o'clock, chances are I was there by 7:40, always. And if I worked until 4:30, chances are I usually stopped working about 4:15 and started like just kind of winding down, tidying up, getting my purse ready, and getting ready to go. Now, some people would look at that and say, oh, God bless you, Bina. That's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Some people would look at that and they'd say, oh, Eileen, always, she stops working a half an hour before work even ends. Well, first of all, I was here 20 to 30 minutes early. And second of all, I have to like close down my day and start my day. So that's just how I work. That's what I do. So to say that I could make a schedule that has like time slots like that would never work for me. So I have to make what's called a block schedule. My schedule is a little bit like 5 to 7:30, dogs, coffee time, me time. 7:30 start work. 10:30 to 10:30 to 12 homeschool. 12 to 1 lunch. This is rough. I don't have it in front of me. 1 to 3. Well, I think it's 1:30 to 3 is housework, errands. 3 to 5 is catch up on homeschool or work. And then 5:30 to 7 is dinner and housework. And then at 7 o'clock, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm not doing it. I'm done with housework. I'm done answering questions. I'm done with all of that. So then that leaves me the night. So I get to, take a bath if I want, or read a book, or whatever else I want for the rest of the night. My favorite time of night is laying in bed at night and watching TV. I'm so old. I'm only 43, but I sound 80. But that is my favorite time of night, is laying in bed at night and watching TV and drifting off to sleep. That is like the best time at night. Anyway, so that's roughly like what my day looks like. Now, I do break that down into Mondays I do YouTube, Tuesdays I do Etsy, and Hannah's got her own little schedule where she's working on her homeschool the same time I'm doing my work, but then the only time that we do homeschool together is between, what did I say, 10:30 and 12 or something like that. So it works for us to do a block schedule. If you look at block schedules on Pinterest or YouTube, you'll find so many different block schedules. And as I work this schedule, I will do a video on it and let you know what's working for me and what's not, but it's definitely too soon to do a video on it. So that is what I've been up to. Okay, so here we are in our journal. We've got all of our pages glued together. Now we must dry it. I'm telling you, you guys, this thing is pretty saturated with all that glue. So I take a hair dryer and I go to town with it. I'm not patient, and you'll see here in a couple minutes that I'm not patient and I rip it. But that's okay because I fix it. I always fix my mistakes. I don't ever just chuck a... Okay, this picture right here, this page, I left it open like that because can we just stop at how beautiful Niecy Nash is? That's why I left it, because I am not coloring that. She's going to become part of this Niecy Nash, this junk journal, because she's so beautiful with those red balloons. I just couldn't cover her up. So anyway, I'm just going in here with my hair dryer because I'm fancy like that. I know other people have, what are they called? Hot, what are they called? Heat guns. They have really fancy tools, and I'm just over here with an old hair dryer from Revlon. But that's okay. I'm grateful for it. And I'm just going to blow dry this whole thing. I am trying very hard to get into that spine right there because it's super wet in the spine. But I love the way it feels. I keep flipping through it because it's nice and thick in your hand, and it just feels really nice. There's that half page again. Okay, so for the last part of constructing the base of this journal, so now we have this nice 5x8 journal. It's got some nice, really thick pages to it. But now I want to prep those pages for paint, for paper to go on to, for things to adhere to it. And with it being a magazine, it's very glossy. So I thought, well, I want to give it some texture and I want to give it, you know, some color. So I thought, well, not necessarily color. I wanted to cover it up. I wanted to cover the color up. So that's where the white paint comes in. And I have white chalk paint. If you have white chalk paint, use it because it's really thick and it'll give you one coat coverage. But white chalk paint is also $16, $17, $19 for a quart of it. And we're not all able to go out and run out and buy a quart of white chalk paint for $19. So here we are with Dollar Tree items. We've got this white paint that is horrible by itself. And I mean horrible. Like it doesn't cover anything. You have to get like coat after coat after coat. But it's okay because we are adding to it some baking soda and some of that tacky glue because we're making our own gesso type material. I personally have never bought gesso. I've never worked with gesso. I've looked at gesso online and I've seen people make their own gesso and it looks pretty much like what I'm making, but this is how I bake. I don't measure anything. And for people who want measurements, I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I can tell you it's about 4 parts paint to about 2 parts baking soda and maybe 1 part glue. That's totally estimating. I gotta go see what the dog's eating. No worries, it was just a piece of cardboard. Anyway, that's an approximation of what I'm adding here. And I did notice that with this particular type of paint and baking soda, it foams up. It almost acts like it has like vinegar in it or something. It makes it kind of foamy. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to apply it to these pages. And then I'm going to use the hair dryer to dry it as I go. And again, this process right here probably took, I don't know, another hour. But again, put on another movie. So I would say this total process took about 2.5 hours from start to finish to put together this journal base. But if you ask me, I thought it was worth it. Again, I love crafting. I love feeling paper. I love making, what am I trying to say? I love making paper different textures. And so when you use this concoction that I've got right here on the paper, it makes it really gritty, and I really love that. So that's what I'm trying to say. So just apply this to all the pages, get out your hair dryer or your heat gun if you're super fancy and have the correct tools, and dry the pages as you go. Watch a movie or put in your headphones, or I don't know, do whatever you want. I'm not your mom. I don't have to tell you what to do. And I did forget to mention that I am doing 2 coats on each one of these pages. So I'm doing 1 coat, drying it with the hairdryer, and then going back and doing a 2nd coat. And even though you're seeing it's not giving full coverage, it is giving something for like paint to stick on, glue to stick on. It is giving a really good texture on the page. And it's just given, a really good texture for something to hold down onto the paper, since it was that slick magazine paper. And now I wanted to go in and play with some of this mastic that I got in this tube from the Dollar Tree. And honestly, I didn't really like this too much. I guess if I was patient and I could wait for it to dry on each page, then I would like it. But I was trying to do a whole bunch of pages. This magazine turned out being 15 pages. So front and back, there's 30 pages, front and back. And if you're trying to do 30 pages in like one big sitting, you don't really have time to have this mastic dry, even with the hair dryer. So I think that's the reason I didn't like this stuff, because it just took way too long to dry. So if you want to use this, go for it. If you can find like a quick drying mastic, then go ahead and go for it. But I didn't like it because it took way too long to dry. But up to you. Something else to try. Okay, I'm going to try to talk to you guys, but I'm not going to promise that's going to work because the dogs and everybody's home and William's working on Hannah's room and I just can't promise that it's going to work. Anyway, so here we are. I've got everything all prepped. I left this page blank because who would cover that up? I mean, she's gorgeous and the beautiful red balloons, and I'm sure we can find a way to incorporate that into our journal. So anyway, the only thing that I see that I don't like about this, I like the pages are nice and thick and they're solid. Okay. They're really nice and heavyweight. They almost feel like these are really wet still. I don't know why. Not this one per se. This one's still a little bit damp. I don't know why. This one's flimsy because it's just one page. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, here's my dilemma. You see how this rolls over? This is actually the back. Here's the spine right here. And it's because when I was gluing the pages, I was pulling them. So I should not have done that. But we're going to fix it because this spine is not very reinforced. I feel like these pages, especially this single page, could rip out at any minute. I've gotten this area, this spine area, really wet with glue and paint. So I'm just afraid that it's weak in the paper. So here's what we're going to do. Yeah, see? This is really wet still. So even when I went in, yeah, that's very wet. Hey, Hannah. This is. She's not the star of the show.
Yes.
I'm clearly the star of the show.
No.
Anyway, the show's named after me. Anyway. Shush. So, here's what I'm deciding. Here's the center. And you can tell it's messed up because I actually have to position it. I have to roll it open to position it properly. So here's what I decided. We should bind it because these staples right here really aren't doing a darn thing because this this paper's damp. We need to bind it somehow. So here's the next question. Should we wait for everything to dry? Probably before we start trying to bind it because this is, yeah, see, this is damp right here. I guess when I'm doing the pages and I'm blow drying it, it's not getting, yeah, it's not getting this dry. And so this whole spine area is still wet. Okay. I was going to tell you that it took me about an hour and a half to prime all these pages with that DIY gesso. And dry them. But obviously, I didn't dry them well enough. So, I'm going to tell you, you probably need to let the book dry. I'm not a patient crafter, but I think I'm going to have Hannah added in at all. She's right. But I think I'm going to have to be patient because otherwise this whole thing's going to fall apart. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let it dry. So this video might not go up as quick as I want it to, but I'm going to let this dry until at least this afternoon and then come back and try to work on this a little bit more. Yep, so it is like 11 o'clock right now, 10:51. I'm going to let it dry until this afternoon, probably 1, 2 o'clock, and I'll come back and see how this spine area. See, right here, I just feel it's really weak still, and really, I think it's damp in there, and that's why. So I will be back to check on it. Let it dry. Okay guys, so I'm back and I bet that you're not surprised at all because it's 11:10. And remember I said I was going to wait a couple hours. Nope, didn't happen. And I was impatient and I ripped the book. See? Yep. That's why I said, oh, we're just going to be patient and we're going to leave it alone. No, we didn't do that. So we have to fix it now. So what I did was I flipped the book over. This is where the curl, or this is where the spine was trying to round out. So what I did is I took my ruler, I lined it up, and I gave it a good crease again on the natural spine. Then I flipped it back over and I tried to do that right here. Well, I told you it was super duper wet right here and I was gonna let it dry. Yeah, and 7 minutes later, I did this and that's why it ripped. The girls are laughing at me because they know that I have no patience.
Girl, Hannah.
Yeah.
I was not laughing at you. Well, originally in the video I said that you have no patience, so.
Right. So we're gonna fix it. Bring in the tape. So we've got masking tape and then whatever this shipping paper tape is, I think. I want to use this just because it's going to match better and it's going to be easier to like blend it into. Let's do this.
Oh, the painter's tape? Or
This is masking tape.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe I got it at the Dollar Tree. I did, over in the tool section. So I'm trying to use all Dollar Tree products for this. Okay, I can't find the beginning. I skipped the beginning. Oh, there it is. I see it.
I was about to say.
Now I found it. All right, so we're just gonna lay some tape right down the center there.
Can you not put your nose right there? That'd be great.
And follow it down so it can grip onto both pages. I can't believe I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wait, and then sure enough, I didn't wait. I never wait.
I don't even know why you said that.
I don't know why I said that either. Right when I said it, I knew I wasn't gonna wait. Right when I was like, okay, I'll come back at 1 or 2, and I'm sitting here, and here's the thing, is that I have stuff that I have to do today. Well, I don't have to do today. I have stuff that I want to do today. Well, I do have other stuff I have to do, but in my head, there's stuff that I want to do today. And so, getting this video done this morning needs to happen. So, as I was saying, oh, I'm going to come back later on, I knew that I wasn't going to.
Wait.
Alright, let's try to redo that spine right there. Okay, so we want the original spine, not that crazy spine that formed when we... Not that crazy spine that formed when we started gluing pages together. So I'm trying really hard to... And of course it's going to be a little bit thicker because I've added glue in between the pages.
Stop being so loud with your toy.
Alright, that's about as good as that's going to get. And I'm okay with that. Let me make sure that these other pages are in okay. Yeah, I don't like the way that these pages sit. Okay, so the rest of the video is just me using this masking tape and this paper tape from the Dollar Tree to reinforce all of the spines. Actually, it's one spine. I don't know why I'm saying spines. To reinforce the spine in between the pages here, I just go in here with the masking tape and I really get it in between the two pages, and it really does reinforce the spine of the book. So that's all I'm doing for the rest of the book here. This is our base. It is all done. It feels very sturdy. I will say that I really like the way it feels in my hand. It is very sturdy. The pages are nice and thick, and I'm really excited to show you what I have in store for the next portion of this video. So I hope that you guys are excited to be back with me. I am excited to be back. I feel better than ever. I am excited to be on a schedule again. I'm excited to be back in my craft room again. I will be doing an updated craft room tour. I just have to clean it up. It's currently a mess. So you can probably hear Cassie in the background. She's the little girl dog, and she had her ACL surgery done June 13th. And let me tell you something. She's 9 months old, and my opinion is that you should not do ACL surgery on a puppy. There, I said it. She is an overactive puppy, and they did this ACL surgery on her. She's over there crying right now because I can't keep her still. She's not recovering properly. They've got her dosed up on a whole bunch of sedatives, and when she's not dosed up on sedatives, she wants to play with her brother. And her brother's 60 pounds, and she's 40 pounds, and they want a roughhouse, and they can't because she has to recover. Anyway, I'm going to go take care of them. And I hope that you enjoyed being back with me. I hope that you enjoyed getting into crafting. And like I said, I will do an updated craft tour. I just got to get this room cleaned up. But first I got to get Cassie through her recovery because she is currently in my craft room with me, which is why she's crying. And her brother is on the other side of the pet gate in the living room. So that's why she's mad at me. But I will definitely get this cleaned up and let you into the craft room here and see where I keep everything organized and how I keep everything organized. But until then, we are going to work on this junk journal, all from the Dollar Tree. And if you want to get a step up, go to the Dollar Tree and pick out some junk journaling supplies that you think that you'd want to use in this junk journal. And then next video, we'll get back together and I'll show you the stuff that I use. How about that? So you guys head out to the Dollar Tree and pick up. I'll give you a couple hints. Playing cards are great. Index cards, doilies, books, markers, pencils, inks, any kind of food coloring, paper. Those are just off the top of my head. Okay, so go down the stationery aisle, go down the crafting aisle, pick up some things, and then we'll get back together in the next video and I'll show you what ideas I have for my junk journal, and we'll put together something nice. All right, I'll see you in my next video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this next video, and we will get junk journaling together in the next video, and then who knows what I have up my sleeve because I'm so excited to be back. Maybe I'll have some cleaning videos for you. I don't know yet. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.